Les Brown is one of my favorite motivational speaker, and he says, if you do the hard things, your life will be easy. If you do the easy things, your life will be hard. Today, I want to share a little bit of my story with you. And the reason I'm sharing my story with you is to offer you some courage. And whatever you're going through, despite the odds that seem stacked up against you, despite the insurmountable challenges that you find yourself facing, what I want to see rise up in you is courage. There are some people who, when they're faced with challenges, courage rises up. But yet there are others who, when they are faced with those same challenges, succumb to defeat. And I'm trying to understand what goes on in the mind of somebody who says, I'm going to get up and fight another day, and somebody who just lays down and dies. At the age of 15, I graduated from high school. I was young, energetic, bright. By 16, I had a job. I was teaching at a primary school. Sadly, that very same year, at the tender age of 16, I found myself pregnant. By 17, I was married and with my first child. And that was a very, very difficult period in my life. I had lost my teaching job despite getting married to save the job because I worked with the Catholic mission at the time. You had to be properly married or properly single. And I found myself in a situation where I was totally dependent on my husband, who was an alcoholic and who tended to be very abusive when he was drinking. My life was dark and it only got worse. In a matter of a few years, there was a huge downward spiral. And to add to that, by the age of 21, I found myself with three young children, no job. I was devastated. And when I finally was able to go out and find work, I ended up working with government, to join the government service. And when I was finally able to catch my breath and really think, I realized that I had to do something about my circumstance. And I realized that for me, I had to go back to school. If I was going to get myself out of the dire situation that I found myself in, that I put myself in, that I had to do something. And so in the evenings after work, I would go to school, I enrolled in university. I was struggling to keep up with work and school and my kids. And at times I felt overwhelmed in trying to deal with all of this. But I persevered, I kept pushing because I knew that if I was going to get out of that situation, I had to do something. My challenge to you today is, if you find yourself in a difficult circumstance, decide to do something. Doing nothing is never the answer to a difficult circumstance. Life is difficult. Things are challenging, but we must be able to find the courage to dig ourselves out of the situation that we find ourselves in. There is hope. There is hope if you are able to see that, it's possible. It really is possible, and you can do it. So next time you find yourself in a situation where it seems that there is no hope, that there is nothing good that could possibly come out of this situation, I want you to ask yourself, what can I do? Because there's always something that can be done. You just have to have the courage to make that first step in the direction that you need to go. All right. I remember watching the movie The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And one of the quote that stays with me is, she said, when you're this low, the only good thing about being this low is that there is nowhere to go but up. And I always remember that quote when I find myself in a low place. Because really, the only way to go when you find yourself low is up. And so look up, find the courage within you. It's there, it's very deep, it's very within all the trouble and the strife that you're going through, and you're not able to see clearly yet. But don't give up. Don't give up. You can do it. You can do it. It takes courage, but it's possible. It's very possible.